Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Today's video, Quant, QNT on the exchange. Guys, this is one of our top projects that we hold in our portfolio here at the Whales of Wall Street. We've talked about this a multitude of times, the fact of its power in interoperability aspects, its potential with CBDCs in the coming years. We know it's a fundamental partner and integration process of this aspect as well. But for me, right now is the focus on the price points of Quant, which we'll go into in a second in the charts, because they have risen quite substantially since those lower regions that we are entering. And we're going to have a quick look at where we see a potential buy-in opportunity, as well as where we think it's coming in the coming weeks. So keep tuned for that. But yes, just to reiterate the point about Quant here, we did a video a while back, or more recently actually, to be fair, it's not too far back, in relation to the progress of the new RTGS systems, the new banking systems, the new messaging service systems. We're talking about ISO 20022. We're talking about the RTGS system, i.e. Swift and Chaps, being replaced with blockchain technology. And Quant is and has been identified as one of the key projects and key, more importantly, technologies towards achieving these aspirational goals that the Bank of England, the BIS, the World Financial System, the Federal Reserve have all got in place for arguably 2025. I still hold my ground, saying November 2025 are the dates that they're specifically targeting for the switchover. But this is exciting times, guys, and it's not even just about the finance side of things. We also look in Quant's side of project partnerships with the likes of Oracle, cloud servicing, AI, algorithms, all of these things, multi-chain opportunities, not just interoperability aspect there, but also multi-chain as well. And quotations, I think, from the Ethereum founders a while back were suggesting that multi-chain was a significant evolution of blockchain and how finance and technology of blockchain will move going forwards. And this is where we look at things like the EVM model of Ethereum and starting to interject with projects like Quant and others to make a system that is unstoppable. And other things to mention here as well, we did cover a while back about the Latin American market being so huge, and that's something that Quant's focusing on as well. We've got a lot of hiring going on with Quant also. This development in my mind for Quant is really leading up to these next 2 or 3 years of being a substantial asset class. And I mean that by price point as well. Now, I got shot down quite recently for saying that by 2025, I could see that Quant could be like a kind of $4,000 or $5,000 token. But of course, yes, if you look at supply chain and the methodology of how Quant will perceive itself over the next few years, a lot of people were suggesting that it should be a lot higher than that. Well, maybe I was being conservative. But yeah, for sure. Either way, I think Quant is significantly undervalued right now compared to where it will be in the future. Do I think that the price point at this current stage reflects its current progress? Yes, I generally do. And especially the fact that we're still in a winter or bear market, whichever one you want to call it. I do think it's something to really start being considerate towards as to where we think this is going to go. So big things happening with Quant. There's nothing like major news wise since the last Quant video we did, so I'm not really going to waste our time going through old news articles or reiterations that they keep doing about the Latin American market and this, that and the other. If you do want to check out our previous videos, especially the RTGS ones, they're quite interesting. I'm not blowing our own trumpet there, but if you want to know more about this 2025 deadline for the financial system, do go check those out. I'll leave them at the end of this one as well. But on that note, let's go into the trading view, because we have seen some significant price movements. This is something we've got quite a few videos to do later this evening, so I'm just going straight into this one. We are currently, guys, at a price point of $132 to put this into consideration, perhaps there are new people out there that haven't heard of Quant and seen the moves and they want to understand a bit more about this. We're going to look at a bit of history in this chart as well to identify where we think we're going and where we could potentially bring some entry points for those that are looking to try and get into Quant. This is not financial advice, it's opinion based and what I've been doing in the market for a number of years now. So let's take a look at this. So as I said, bang on this 132 mark. This is identifying a path that is historic here, very nicely moved up. So this is where we are right now. We're currently on this fib retracement level top here, which is also in line with previous touch points back here in April and February respectively. Why have we kept all this information here? Because it's extremely important to understand the data of everything and then the markers of where we take our potential positions, because this is where you're going to start seeing barriers, key unique sideways movements and potential resistance as well as support. So right now we are matching basically around this area. So if you can look here, for example, back in February, you see resistance on the way up and then we came back down a bit. We did come back up, but it's still testing this particular area exactly where we are right now. You could see it on a number of occasions, as I said, through February and April in particular. Then we pulled down in the bear market like everything else. We have, however, been on a downward trajectory anyway, pretty much since September or October last year. We had some big moves for Quant, but the main thing, which I pointed out on many videos before, is this uptake is too much. It was always going to come down anyway, but you can see that we've been making a gradual move down. Tried to put it down quicker here in January, didn't work out. People took profits, absolutely brilliant move back upwards again, because we went from this like $90 back up to 150, which is a big move really. And then we've transferred our way down. Now, what's really positive at the moment is this testing ground here. Let's take a look here at July, for example, where we're hitting back at the $83 marks. This was obviously resisted back down here, which is again a pinpoint that we marked back here in January when we did those videos. Good entry point there if you missed the lower region ones back down here at $40, $50. I'm pleased to say from my personal perspective, I was obtaining Quant as much as I could around these areas because I truly believe that this is going to be a mega investment in the years to come. But also I think in the short term that we can see some really good returns. Even right now, to be fair, we are almost on that kind of like 2 to 3 times move. Not enough for me to be selling just yet, although I did take some profits here around the 120 mark, but I'm waiting for slightly higher ones and we'll go into that in a second. But it's all again about data points. We had some big points here in June 2021 and July 2021. You see this like resistance and then smashing through that resistance level, coming back down here to test it again on 2 occasions, January and February respectively this year. And that is where we had a lot of movement throughout July and into the beginning of August as well. So we're in a critical stage here. I wouldn't say critical in the sense that we should be worried as such, but more the point of being really cautious and aware of what is going on movement wise. So now that we are moving around this area, we can start to potentially tick off these areas as new support lines. In my opinion, this drop down and this particular area between this marker around 40 and around 100 is quite big. So I do think we're going to still see a bit of bouncing around. This brings me back to my point about, well, where do we think Quant's going and where do we think the potential opportunities of getting back into it if you miss these uprises will be? There's always a general practice with me personally is I don't tend to start entering markets while we're on a bit of a bull run. What I'm saying is we're not in a big bull market, but we're on a bull run for Quant right now. You can see this all the way back from June the 30th, $50 all the way up to 128. And to put that into a bit more perspective, that is taking us round about from the 17th of June up to where we are today, 200%, guys. Absolutely phenomenal move upwards. It's taken a bit of time, we said it would, but we are seeing the progress. So I have a couple of pointers here, which I will be utilizing myself personally. First of all, a selling opportunity for me from buying at these lower regions. This, which we'll go into the RSIs in a minute, should indicate a good, maybe potentially up to 4 or 5 times profit taking here from these lower regions to up here. This is also on the fib retracement level that we must mark here. The top regions here and resistance here as well. So we had 2 resistance points around this marker. We had a failed one here, and we had a resistance back here in December. So this is a really key critical area. It matches this kind of box that we drew ages ago for me to start taking some profits at this area. Now, I do believe in the longevity of quant, but I do still think that we'll have a lot of bounce backs, ups and downs. And if I was taking profits up here, I will be certainly looking again to be buying back down here. If we don't hit those regions, we start floating back down here. I have 2 buy areas to consider. One is still around this sort of 119 area, which isn't too far off to where we are right now. I do have one at 111 as well, and I will certainly be having one at these lower regions just in case again as well, especially around this fib retracement level and the medium level at around 101. Do I think it's coming down lower than $100 again in the near future? That is possible, but I think that we're in a strong momentum with quant. Everyone's starting to understand the power of it and where we were going and what we will achieve with investing in quant. So I'd be surprised if it does drop back down to below $100 at this rate. That doesn't mean that you've run out of time or there aren't other opportunities in the future. If you think this is going to be a $5,000 coin over the next few years, what's $100? $80? Yes, of course, the difference of $50, $60 is quite a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it isn't really that much different. But we must always try to get the lowest points possible, and this is where we look at the indicators as well, which I'm going to pull up now. So right now the RSI in the 14 days is 76, which is quite high. This is usually something where I start considering some sales if I was doing the 2-week trading, which I'm not at this current stage, but I am very interested in the 28-day one, which takes us back to around about those beginning of July marks and some parts into June, if you want to consider it that way. Is we're hitting around the 70, nearly the 70 mark on a 28-day close. Now, this for me needs to be a bit higher. I would like to see around 75 to 80, and that's where I think we might see, if we do start penetrating further up and up with quant and more momentum comes in, more FOMO comes in, if we start hitting those $160 marks, that's where I think we'll start edging over the 70 mark on the 28-day, and this is a good selling marker for me personally. And you can see here we had a bit of a small sell-off here, nothing significant, but the intake is starting to come in. The last time we had that was this big run up here. You could argue that we could match this similar move, and that's where I think it could take us to around that 160 mark. I do think we'll get a bit of resistance around this sort of $144 mark first of all, because that does match the previous historic data as well. But the big longer term one for me in a macro medium level is around the 162 mark. So 144 is something that might allow me to bite. The next one up would be 162 personally, to take some initial profits from the markers where I was buying down at $40, $50, because that's a good return in my opinion. That's not saying that I don't think it's going to go higher in the future as well, but I like to take profits because that's a big mistake I've made over the last few years, not doing that enough, and then sitting there having to inject more and more of my own capital and money into this when I could be using profit taking. So there's a few judgmental factors there about the chart of quant, guys. Hopefully you found this relatively interesting. Do always check out different videos, different markers, but in my mind, this is what's been working for me over the last few years. Again, it's all opinion based, not financial advice, but I do think there's some big things coming for quant, not just price point wise. More importantly, I'm actually interested in the technology. I find it absolutely fascinating. If we can make some money along the way, absolutely brilliant. But look at these performance indicators on the right hand side. There's not many assets out there that can boast this. 3 greens in a row here. Even the 3 months is at a whopping 90%. Absolutely brilliant. The 6 months is almost triggering past the red marker. How long has it been where we have not seen asset classes seeing green across all of these modes? And even the year to date's not far off either, or the year. So guys, this could be a big couple of months coming up for quant, as more and more talk comes out about CBDCs, especially in government levels now, and more into the public remit of media and information. This could be quite significant, but do make sure that you mention in your minds we're in a strong buy mode at the moment, so we're on a bit of an uptake. So do be cautious about risk assessment and jumping in when we're in upward trends. But for sure, there will be some markers on the way down, as I've mentioned, 2 or 3 of them at least that I'm certainly looking out for. But keep an open mind and don't keep falling for all the FOMO out there and all the the intake of influencers and stuff kicking off. That's not what we're about in this channel. We're doing things realistically and sensibly, based on experience, based on things that work and don't work. Let us know what you think. Drop your comments below. What you're thinking of Quant right now. Are you excited as we are? What have you been doing in the last 2-3 months with Quant? Have you been buying at those low regions, or are you waiting right now because you've heard of Quant maybe for the first time, and that's great as well? Are you waiting for a bit of a dip? Let us know in the comments below. But thanks guys for watching. We will see you in the next Quant video very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.